What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 39 of the Alchemy Devlog. This is your pal Isaac here with the latest from the dev team. In this episode, we're going to talk about Pip Trackers, themes, and the long-awaited System Builder beta. It's finally here for a select few, but we'll be rolling it out to more people as time goes on. I'll also take a few moments to go over what's coming up next and answer a few of the questions that have come in on that Q&A forum since last time. If you'd like to ask a question yourself, you can find a link for that down below in the description. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, let's take a look at the new changes to Pip Trackers. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this game where I'm a player and create a character. We'll make Jeff the human fighter. Over here on the Trackers tab, I'm going to go ahead and add a tracker. And for my tracker, I'm going to choose the Pip option. And you'll notice if you've used a Pip tracker before that this is showing a maximum value of 10. That's right. This is no longer arbitrarily limited to 6. You can have up to 20 in here, which feels like a pretty darn good amount for most use cases. So here's that big Pip tracker that I just created. You can see I've got 10 items in there, and I can fill them in as I'd like to and bring them down as well. So anywhere you use Pip trackers and two-state Pip trackers, including in the GM tools, you can now have a bunch of pips in there, and they'll lay out nicely in a big old block for you to click away at for your tracking needs. Pretty exciting stuff, if I do say so myself. All right, next up, let's take a look at the theme light accent color. I'm going to go ahead and jump into one of my existing universes for themes. We'll go with this themed universe here, and let's take a look at what terrible things I've done with the theme here. Okay, nothing too wild in here. Let's just take a look at this accent color. We've got that nice neutral gray, and then we have a new light accent color here. This is the kind of light gold color that you see for all of the text here, pretty much everywhere throughout the app where we're using a theme. This lets you control that, so we could make it something probably terrible here. Let's see, we'll just go with that. Pretty darn white. Pretty hard to distinguish that from white even. Let's go with something a little bit more. There, bright yellow. That's nice. So all of the text using this theme is now going to be this bright kind of yellow color. Let's hop out of here now and into an article to take a look at some of that in action. So in this article now, you can see our nice yellow lemony color as the body text in here, and our accent color of gray for many of the things, and then white for some of the headings throughout. Now, if we were to jump into a game, for example, we could take a look at last week's Devlog 38 game and set it up to be connected to that universe, which was called Themed Universe, and then go to my game tab and change the theme over to the Themed Universe theme. You'll see that yellow text color, or that yellow light accent color, taking over my text throughout the whole game experience as well. So it's going to be quite a change to this game. All of the panels, all of the character sheets, many things are going to take on that light accent color. So you want to make sure this is a color that you're happy with when you put it in your theme, because it's going to be everywhere. But it's very cool and very powerful, and it gives us some really cool capabilities to work within the systems that we have in place for themes without having to do custom stuff everywhere. So pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you all do with it. All right, next up, let's take a look at the System Builder beta. I'm going to go ahead and create a new universe. We're going to call this one SysBuild 39. Very, very cool and creative. We'll go to Custom, System. You can do this with any system, but for this demo, I'll just use Custom, and we'll give this one a name of SysBuild 39 as well. And I'll hop on into that universe. Once you have access to the System Builder beta, you'll be able to go into the System tab of your universe and use the new Sheets tab, which lets you manage and create sheets. So I'm going to click in and manage my sheets, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new player character sheet. We'll just call it Untitled PC, and I'll turn on the published flag for this sheet so that it's available in games. And here is where my sheet starts. It's just the image picker for the character, the name, and then a subtitle, and an empty field here. I can click into this gear icon down here below to get access to the sheet block library. These are all the blocks that you can drag and drop onto your sheet to lay them out and build whatever sheet you need for your game. So since I've last showed this off, it's been quite a few episodes, but these all have nice little icons now, and we've got a whole bunch of blocks. We have these different layout blocks, like different headings. We have different size column layouts so that you can lay out different blocks in columns. We have a list block that will let you repeat something multiple times on the sheet. And then we have a divider and a spacer for adjusting layouts to make those flow nicely for your sheet. Next up, we have basic blocks. We have a basic text input, and we have a larger text area, as well as a drop-down block that lets you define multiple different options for your drop-down, and you can even tie actions and other things to those. We've got a feature block to define sort of like class features, a helper text block for information, a title and subtitle block that lets you tie a title and a subtitle to some other element, which we often do in our design system. You can have a value, a numeric value that you can increment and decrement using plus and minus buttons, switches, pips, and images. Lastly, we have some smart blocks that are things that are hooked up to the character in a very specific way. Things like the description blocks, attributes, or a list of attributes, which is what attributes 2 currently means, skills, the whole tactical section where you can define the size of the token and fields like that, all of the trackers for a character, the actions list, and lastly, the items or equipment for that character. Within here, you can filter these to find just what you want, and you can also set up to 6 tabs for your character. So let's dive into setting up a very simple player character sheet using these tools, and then we'll try it out in a few different spots. By the way, for anyone watching this, if you are in the System Builder beta, there will be a more detailed video that walks you through everything sent to you separately. So there will be more on this once you get in and start to be able to use the System Builder stuff. All right, let's edit this tab. First of all, I'm going to right click it and choose the tab name field and rename that tab to character. And within here, I'm going to set up a 2-column layout. So I click the 2-column and drag that in here. And then I'm going to put a couple of drop downs in. So I'm going to go with a drop down for the lineage of my character with options like human. You can make this a heading if you want to have kind of decorative headings within the drop-down list. You can also set up required purchased modules. This one's the most rough around the edges right now. We use this internally to kind of filter out certain items based on modules that you've purchased. And you can add associated actions to this drop-down menu item. So if you were to select human, for example, and you wanted to have a bunch of actions that come along with being a human in the system, you can click the Add Actions button and pick the actions from your universe actions to associate with that character when they select that drop-down setting. So carrying on, we'll add elf and dwarf to our sheet. Just a couple of different options there. Then we'll go back to our block library and drop another drop-down on here. We're going to call this one job. And this will be things like fighter, thief, and mage. Okay. Wouldn't be a character without some attributes, so let's throw some attributes down below those options and set them up with some defaults. Let's go with some classics: strength, dexterity, intelligence, and luck. So as you can see, that set up my 4 attribute fields on the character sheet over here. There's also a bunch of options for these. You can choose to have those be shown in the game experience, which when that's on, it'll create a panel for your attributes to make them rollable. You can choose whether or not the attribute value should be adjustable or if they should be locked to what's set in the template. You can change how they're displayed in the game experience. Some of these are kind of internal labels, so they're a little bit rougher around the edges, but this makes them, instead of displaying them as little chiclet buttons that are kind of narrow, they'll be wider, like list buttons. And whether or not we want to show the label for those attributes when they're displayed in the game experience. All right, we've got our attributes. Let's grab something else. Good smart block for description. This gets wired into the character document in a specific way, and couldn't have it without tactical. So we'll drop that tactical smart block. And as you can see, the smart blocks come along with quite a bit more kit kind of built out already, because these are reusable blocks that work in a specific way. Next up, let's go to tab 2 and change that one to be trackers. Actually, let's go with equipment first, because it's kind of non-standard to do equipment first. So I'll just do that for fun. And in the equipment tab, I'm going to go ahead and drop the item smart block. Doesn't look like much now, but that's a list of items that can expand. And then lastly, for tab 3, we'll go with trackers for the name of the tab, and then I'll drop the trackers smart block on here, which gives us the whole trackers kit that we're used to seeing. Okay, I'll click the wrench to leave the edit mode on that sheet, the configuration mode. And from here, I'm basically editing a template character if I were to make any selections here. For example, if I were to pick a lineage or a job, that would get carried forward to any character created by default. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of attribute scores here to make sure that those don't cause any problems down the road. And I'll leave the rest as is, so we can click through to see kind of what the defaults are for these tabs. That's a decent starting character sheet. So I'm going to leave the System Builder now and go back to the Content tab of my universe. And over on the Premades tab, this is where I can make use of that sheet that I just created. So up here, this is a custom universe. As it stands today, I still have the legacy custom sheet stuff in the mix, but we also have sheet builder things alongside it. So if I were to click Create Premade, that's going to use the custom sheets templates as they exist today. But if I click on this drop down, you'll see that I have options to edit that template, do the old custom system stuff, but down beneath that, I can create an untitled PC. I left my sheet name as untitled PC. So if I go ahead and click that, it's going to create a new pre-made character using that sheet template that I had set up. You can see I have the zeros here because I already pre-selected those on that character. So we can make a character here. We'll just put a few fields in here. Human fighter. We'll give him 4 strength, 3 dex, 2 intelligence, and 3 luck. Bog. This should look pretty familiar now. You can set up all the things you would expect. You can change its image up here. You can set up equipment if you want Bob to start with like a sword. And now we have that sword. And over here on the trackers tab, we could set up different trackers if we wanted to customize those. I'll stick with the basic XP and HP on this one. Actually, let's go ahead and add a Pip tracker. we'll add some sort of luck thing that maybe you can use 3 times. So we'll set that up that way and save that pre-made. So now we have this character sheet with these things predefined in the pre-made character, and that's ready to use in any games that use this. I'll jump out to my library now and jump into a game that uses this universe that I've set up, and I'll go ahead and play one of the player characters in here. And you can see I can select that pre-made that we created earlier to quickly create a character using that character sheet and the fields that I had already selected for this pre-made, including equipment and trackers, all set up and ready to go. I can also delete this character and create one from scratch. So if we go over, there we go, and play, up here at the top, if I click create character, again, that's going to create the custom system template character. What I want to do right now in the beta land is click the drop down and choose the untitled PC, which was that sheet that I had created. And you'll see I have an empty version of the sheet that we were just playing around with for that pre-made, with all the things ready to go. So back in the universe, I can do the same sort of thing for an NPC if I wanted to. I'm going to jump into the system builder, manage my sheets, and I can create an NPC sheet separate from the player character. I won't go through all of this here, but if I just select the NPC sheet, you'll see this is a different sheet, and I can start putting different things on it. And then I can start using this in the NPCs tab of my universe, as well as from the NPCs panel in any games using this universe. I'll be able to create NPCs from this template in the same exact way. So there's obviously a whole lot more power to this, but that's kind of what we're launching the beta with. And I'm going to be continuing to, well, we're all going to be continuing to adjust this. The whole team's kind of working on this right now. We'll be continuing to adjust this and tune it, and we actually have a whole section of our Discord that is set up specifically for the system builder beta testing phase, which I expect is going to last quite a while. We're starting it off with just a few people today, and then we're going to be expanding it week over week to add more and more testers into the pool to start trying this out, and we have a whole section over there with everything you'll need. I'll actually give you a quick demo of that. So if you're not a member of the Alchemy Discord, now is a great time to hop in there because we have this whole section for those of you invited to the System Builder Beta. We're going to be rolling those out again week over week. More and more folks will be getting added to that. But we have this section of the Discord with all of these channels dedicated to talking about System Builder stuff. So there's going to be a general chat in here, a forum to show off your creations, a bug tracker, which I've already pre-filled with a bunch of the known issues to make sure we don't get those reports a bunch of times, and feature requests with some features that we know we have upcoming, as well as a voice channel where we can kind of hop in and show new things, gather feedback. You can show things if you're running into a problem and need a space to really show a screen. So that's kind of the idea here with this. We're going to be running a lot of it through our Discord. And I think we gathered your Discord username if you signed up for the beta. By the way, if you missed the signups for the beta, we will be rolling those out to more people as we get through it, but we're going to get through the giant list that we already have before we open that back up. So don't worry, you'll be getting in soon enough. All right, let's jump back over to Alchemy. So, what else is new? Last time I mentioned we started a partnership with MCDM, and as you can see from the background that you've been seeing throughout this video, we've already released Flee Mortals and Where Evil Lives. So these big, old, awesome 5e books are available on the Alchemy Marketplace today, and they have a lot of very, very cool content in them. As you can see, lots of cool art, a whole bunch of articles with information about how to use all of these characters, over 300 NPCs. We have 353 NPCs in here, 202 art assets, some spells and items too, all kinds of good stuff in this book. And I'm really excited about this one. I was a Kickstarter backer for this one and really love this book for my 5e games. Similarly, we have Where Evil Lives out on the marketplace as well. This is the extra book of boss battles that kind of spun out of Flea Mortals. This one is ready to go. It went live this week as well. So super excited to have those, not just on the platform, but around such a quick turnaround, getting those out there to you all. So enjoy those. We also have a couple cool new releases from Hit Point Press. We've got the big book of Big Bads with a whole bunch more monsters. And of course, the Venerable Kinemancer released a horror pack recently, which has been a very hot seller indeed. Lots of folks excited about Vampire have been jumping on that one. And as you've probably noticed, we've launched a whole bunch of Checkmarks sci-fi asset packs onto the marketplace, mostly the maps for sci-fi settings. And, you know, we actually also launched a Checkmarks sci-fi Patreon integration. So if you're a Patreon member of the Checkmarks sci-fi Patreon, you can connect that to your Alchemy account. Same place you can do that with the other Patreons right here. And it will unlock all of that content for your account as long as you are a subscriber at the right tier to the Checkmarks Sci-Fi Patreon. So another option for you there to get all of this cool new sci-fi content. So what's coming up next? Speaking of sci-fi, we have been hard at work on one of the V1 titles, Dark Matter, which is a 5e sci-fi setting from Mage Hand Press. That should be coming out here any day now, giving you a great place to use all of that cool Checkmarks sci-fi content. And I'm pretty excited about that one personally. I think it's a pretty cool setting and kind of addition to the 5e setting system, I guess. We've also got the Vampire the Masquerade review going out to Paradox today, so they can take a look at what we've got built out for that and tell us what they think of it and get that kind of moving forward into the approval stages. So we're getting very, very close to having Vampire the Masquerade out. As you can guess, we've been putting a ton of effort into this system. It is unlike anything that we have worked on besides 5e, which is sort of built into Alchemy in so many ways, but we have put so much effort into this, and I think that you all are going to be so stoked when you finally get to try it out. Other than that, I am, of course, still juggling streamer mode with everything else, and I expect to have an alpha release of that out next week. Before the end of the week, there's going to be a general alpha available for everybody to test out. There won't be a wait list for that or any sort of phased stuff. It's just going to be out there for everybody in sort of alpha state. So some of the features won't be there yet, but similar to the system builder stuff, I plan to have a pretty clear roadmap and list of, you know, what's coming up next, new features for streamer mode, to kind of communicate clearly what we expect that to morph into, because what I'll be launching for the alpha next week is definitely just a small sliver of what we plan to have for that throughout Alchemy. So very excited to get that one out there for you all. All right, let's take a look at the Q&A. Okay, scene preloading. It would be helpful to have a right-click option on scenes for preloading assets. Often there's a significant delay between when the players load in and when the scene is ready. For the scene's impact, sounds, and music to be effective, it's imperative that they be ready to go promptly. Damian. Hello again, Damian. Yeah, so I could see how that could be sort of a problem in certain scenarios, and I think we'll definitely consider some options here. As I list here, there's a few things that come to mind, like maybe we have a loading screen when you're changing scenes to make sure that everything is set up and ready to go before the scene is shown and before the music starts playing. Everything can happen kind of at the same exact time. Or we could do some intelligent automatic preloading. I'm thinking of things like what Spotify uses to make sure that there's no wait time when you're going through a playlist. It's like caching the next song, preloading the next song. We could do that with the scenes as well, kind of preload the next scene, preload a couple of scenes. And I think just a general improvement here would just be performance optimizations for scene changes, especially when you have large assets in play. So great suggestion. It's definitely something that we have wrestled with in the past, a long time ago actually, and it's a good suggestion for the future, so we'll definitely take that to heart. Additional measurement tools. Hi Dev. First of all, I would like to say that Alchemy has quickly become my favorite VTT. I'm honestly in love with it and all of its features. Thank you. We appreciate that feedback. Always great to hear that. I'm about to start a D&D 5e campaign using Alchemy with my group, and we're very excited to get started. However, right now, there's only the ability to measure lines in the tactical screen on a battle map, and I've noticed that I miss expanded measurement tools. I would love to see the ability to measure in circles, squares, cones, and beams added to Alchemy, so I can measure out the perfect fireball to TPK my party. Is this something that users can expect to be implemented short term? Thanks for all your hard work, Fluffin. So yes, definitely. I don't know if it will be super short term, but these things are on our radar. We've gotten some feedback about this before, and we even have some V1 titles that kind of need some of this stuff. So it's possible that we will get to adding these types of things before we wrap up the V1 timeline versus adding those onto our kind of after we leave early access feature list. But meanwhile, there's definitely a hack you can do here, which some folks have shared on our Discord before. You can set up tokens on NPCs that have these different types of, cone effects or circular effects or things that you need, and set their token settings to hide that circular crop and hide the token ring. And you'll be able to kind of just move those images around to show an area of effect for spells, for example. Definitely a big hack. You have to put those NPCs in your NPC list and then like not have them in initiative or, hide them from initiative and kind of deal with showing and hiding them and moving them from scene to scene and all that. It's a pain. It's a big hack, but if that's less painful than not having a cone or another area of effect measurement, that could be a short-term solution that you could set up today. But just to go back to the beginning of this, we're definitely planning on adding this stuff, and there's a pretty good chance we'll have something for it before we leave early access behind. Checkmarks on features. Another one from Dayman. Could we get checkmarks on features? This would allow us to build the full class with all its features and only show the checked ones on the character view. This would be great in other places too. Often, classes in other games come with all the features and you have to delete the ones you don't want. Instead, you could just check the ones you need. Yeah, I could see how this would be useful in games with a lot of class features like 5e, and I like this idea. For now, I think one thing you could do to make this work is to just use a Unicode character like these checkmarks that I've listed in the article itself. Add that to the title for your class feature. It would be an option. But we also have some tooling that I sort of alluded to earlier when I was showing the system builder demo. We have some tooling to connect actions to drop-down features so that you could build a character sheet with feature lists in drop-downs that when you select a feature, it automatically adds corresponding actions to your character sheet. And then you only have those selected things on your character sheet. So it would kind of be like a drop-down containing all of the class features, and as you select each one, it adds those actions into your character sheet. So definitely a couple of options there, one for today and one for later on, but I definitely like the idea. So thanks for that feedback, Dayman. All right, lastly for this episode, we've got another one from Dayman, Universe Limits for Collaborators. I'm still running into an issue where when I invite someone to be an editor or above, they face limits based on their account, not mine. I understand this could be exploited, but could we add editor slots to our universes when we have, say, hundreds of objects or 500 plus in one of the smaller ones? Maybe something like a grant this user one of your editor spots checkbox in the invite system. This, of course, being a paid service, I would expect to have to pay for those spots, which is fine. Sorry, Damian, I recall you writing in about this one before. It remains on our backlog, but we haven't been able to get this out there yet. I think we'll consider this as part of our upcoming initiatives around sharing content with other users in the upcoming months. We definitely have gathered a lot of feedback around how people would like to be able to share and mix and match universes together. I think that sort of fits into this as really more of a bug fix. We should just be using your own, as the owner of the universe, your subscription status there, and it's a bug there. But we'll make sure that's fixed as part of that, if not sooner. So thanks for the reminder, Damian. All right, that's it for this week's Q&A list. And that's it for this episode of the Devlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, head on down below, smash that like button, subscribe for future updates, keep in tune with what we're putting out on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and join our Discord. The link for that's down below. That'll be especially important if you signed up for the System Builder Beta. If not, again, we'll be rolling out more and more System Builder Beta invites over the coming weeks, and we'll open up that list or open up the beta more broadly in the very near future after we get some good feedback and testing in there. If you have a question for a future episode, go ahead and click that link down below, send that in to me, and I'll answer it on a future episode or send you a direct response. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Let's go play some games.